Hey guys, how's it going today? So I'm still out of work. It's been like almost 3 weeks now, but let me show you something. I'm able to stand upright and move around under my own power, but let me tell you, this is just a pain. So I haven't been able to get into the shop. However, you know, things always come my way. You know, luckily, because I'm honest, and I honestly feel that's why things come my way. One of my customers, 04 Jeep Grand Cherokee, he calls me up and he asks, do I want to buy his Grand Cherokee? I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you want for it? So he throws me out a number. So I say, hold on a second. I said, me personally, I'm not interested. I said, but my son, who lives up in New York, he has an 07 Subaru Impreza. It looks like a WRX, but it's not. And his car has basically been rotting away for a while now, and he's been wanting a new car, or a replacement car, I should say, but something that'll also get him through the winter. So I was like, yeah, Grand Cherokee, this would be perfect. It has a problem, and I know the problem, and this is why he decided to sell the ar. So I called my son, and I said, look, I got this Grand Cherokee. Are you interested? He says, yeah, absolutely. So the customer dropped it off at my house. Let me show you what I got. So here it is, 04 Grand Cherokee. It's got 130,000 miles on it, I think. I think that's what it is. I'm not 100% positive. As you can see, it's in very good shape. There's nothing really visually wrong with it on the outside. Sorry for hobbling. You know, there's no dents, no dings, no nothing. Nice looking vehicle. It could use a set of headlights, you know, cosmetically. Let's look at the interior. I mean, come on. Can't go wrong with that. Look at this thing. So what's wrong with it, and why did I wind up with it? No, get out, GP. How did I wind up with it? So the customer came to me about 2 months ago. Said, I got a check engine light on my Grand Cherokee. Okay, so I go and I scan it for codes. P0455, EVAP system issue, leak, something or other. So I'm like, all right. So I put it up in the air and I look, and I happen to see something. Now, this car was originally from Pennsylvania, but it's been down here a long time. But let me show you what's going on here. Now, if you come to the back, here's the fuel filler. Now, everything's fine. It's dirty, whatever. No big deal. But if you look underneath here, can you see that? I can't crawl down, unfortunately. Can you see how rotted that is? That's not the frame. What that is that's actually the fuel tank skid plate. It's a clamshell that the fuel pump sits in. And then also, right behind this panel here, is the leak detection pump. The leak detection pump is also bracketed with like a cheaper type of steel, like a stamped steel. Problem is, they're prone to rusting out. So when I put this thing up in here and I looked, I realized the whole clamshell for the gas tank's rotted out, and that whole bracket assembly is rotted out. So I'm like, all right, well, in order for me to actually, I'm going to have to smoke test this thing or whatever at some point, but I'm going to have to drop the tank down because I got a funny feeling either a mouse got on the top of the tank and ate through one of the hoses or whatever. But when I go to drop that tank, that whole clamshell is going to come apart. So, you know, I gave him a price on fixing it, and he's like, okay, well, I don't know if I want to fix it. I think I want a new vehicle. Okay, let me know what you want to do. So he calls me up and he says, give me $1,700 for it. Yeah, I'll give you $1,700 for it. No problem. I'm not even going to question the price. The price is a good price. It's got decent tires on it. The interior is mint. Hold on one second. Here we got Gigi trying to investigate. G, get out of the car. The guy who owned it did have dogs. But I mean, look at this. He, you know, he did cart the dogs around. So yeah, there's a lot of dog hair and stuff in there I got to clean out. Not a big deal. It doesn't really stink of dog, though. A lot of times you'll get in something like this and it smells of dog. It doesn't really stink. And the one thing I really like about this vehicle, let me just show you this first before I get to what I really like. I mean, come on, that's plenty of room in the back. I mean, you could stick, you know, what, like 8 or 10 bodies back there. Plenty of room. I shouldn't say that with all the serial killer documentaries and stuff coming up, or that are on TV right now. But let me start it up. Oh, actually, let me show you real quick. I'm all over the board. I didn't rehearse anything. I never do. I've told you that in the past. But here, let me turn on the... Now, on a Chrysler, on some of them, not all of them, I still have yet to figure out which ones you can, which ones you can't. Put the key in, go to run, off, run. Look at the odometer, P0455. EVAP system leak. Now, and done. So that means that's all of the powertrain control codes that are in the OBD system. This thing could still have codes that are not OBD2. They could be, you know, manufacturer specific, and they won't show up. But there, I mean, it starts and runs perfectly. Everything works in this thing, so that's one real good plus. Everything works. You know, the windshield's perfect, no brakes, wipers are good. The guy took care of it. He really did take care of it. He did some of his own work. He put new brakes on it not too long ago. As you can see, it's got vented slotted rotors. It's got new pads on it. Go all the way around. Let me pop the hood. And this is what I like best about this vehicle. Something's whistling. I don't know if that's a vacuum leak or if that's the alternator whistling. Don't really care. The 4-liter. What a bulletproof motor. I mean, it's just a great motor. So I'm very happy with this. Yeah, the whistling stopped. So either it's a PCV, which is a fixed orifice back there. It's either a PCV issue or it could be the alternator. I'm not too concerned about it. But somebody put a power steering pump on this at one point in its life. It wasn't me. Yeah. So I'm super happy about it. I think it'll be a great vehicle for my son. You know, it's 4-wheel drive. It's got the select track 4-wheel drive, so you can have 2-wheel drive part-time, full-time, and 4 low. It's got cruise control, tilt, power seats. Yeah, how can you go wrong? The interior's in great shape. The headliner's not messed up. And it's got a quarter tank of gas. So yeah. So what can you get for $1,700? Pretty decent vehicle, actually. So now, for me to repair what I got to repair back there, to drop the tank and everything else, the parts themselves, I already priced them out. That clamshell assembly, like I said, it basically, the tank sits in this bottom half of a clamshell, and straps go over top and lock the tank into the bottom part of the clamshell, which is a skid plate. That part itself is like $275, and then with shipping, you got to figure shipping's probably expensive. Probably going to be like $350. So I'm going to compare to see, can I get it cheaper at a local parts store, or even if I can get it roughly the same price, I'd rather get it from a local parts store at that point. What else? Oh, the LDP pump that sits behind the shield there. It's mounted to a bracket, and everything, like I said, is rotted. The charcoal canister's there. This thing has no frame rod. There's no frame rod at all. This is just that cheap bracketry, the cheap stamped steel that they use, you know, for mass producing stuff. It's probably the same bracketry they use for like 90% of all their vehicles, and it's just quick stamped steel. And the edge is probably what's it called? Not painted. I can't think of it. Plastic coated. It was probably plastic dip, plastic coated, whatever, from the factory, and the edge probably chipped or whatever, and it just, of course, it ate right through it. But on this vehicle, everywhere else, there's no rust, there's no rot. So, you know, I can actually get an LDP pump. I think they're about $175, but I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But I figure before I take everything apart, I want to have all new parts to put in there just in case. I don't want to take it apart and find out that bracket is so destroyed I can't put anything back. I'm going to have to zip tie everything. So, actually, can you hear it? Can you hear that? That's the leak detection pump doing its job. The problem is there's a leak there somewhere. So what the actual leak is, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't want to take anything apart until I had parts or had the approval from the customer. I didn't charge them when I checked it out. And there again, people would say, well, why didn't you charge them? Well, there we go. There we go. I needed the vehicle. I didn't need it. My son needed it. And this shows up. So, you know, what can you get for $1,700? You could still get a deal out there. You know, I don't know what this thing is worth, but I know it's worth a lot more than $1,700. Yeah, if you took it to a shop, I think I figured out the actual cost for that repair with my labor was probably going to be, let's see, the parts were like $350. It was probably going to be probably towards the area of $1,000 after you figure the leak detection pump, the gas tank stuff, whatever else I find. And I think I even said to him, you know, maybe if we're in there, if there's a problem with the fuel tank seal, which is possible, then maybe we should put a fuel pump in it at the same time. Because this thing actually has 137,500. It runs great, it drives great. I've known the car for a couple of years, and like I said, as you can see, it sits a bit. I mean, just look how dirty the mirror is. And if you look close, come around, like this is actually moss starting to grow on there from this thing sitting. But like I said, yeah, see it? Down in here, this is like a moss starting on here. See that? But there's no rust or anything on it, so. The way my son usually keeps a car, he'll keep it for, you know, till it can't go anymore. And shoot, this thing will probably last him a good 6 or 7 years. Well, we'll see, it probably lasts even longer than that. I know that 4 liter is indestructible. All right, anyway, thought I'd show you that. If you're getting something out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.